What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Game Time Voice Report here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel. I'm your host, Mike Walsh, and I thank you for joining me for another exciting trip around the world of sports. On today's episode, we're going to take a look back at the Patriots' thrilling 25-19 win over the New Orleans Saints this past Sunday. That, coupled with the Atlanta Falcons' win against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, had the Patriots in rare place, some place they haven't been in quite a few years. We'll also take a look at the Boston Bruins and their somewhat surprising start to the season and how this might be a preview of things to come, even though it wasn't very much expected by most fans. And finally, we'll take a look, as always, as our wackiest of the week returns after taking a little bit of a hiatus last week. And we'll see how a key play in the Bruins game against the Tampa Bay Lightning might have just found its next captain for the Bruins. All that and much, much more. So buckle those chin straps and lace up those skates real tight. This is episode 11 of the Game Time Voice Report. We're going to start today's episode with the boys in Foxborough, Massachusetts, as they went down to the Big Easy and played the New Orleans Saints and came away with a thrilling 25-19 victory that has them in very rare place to be. Drake May was special as always as he went 18 for 26 with 261 yards and had a couple of big plays, one to Kayshawn Booty for a touchdown and Demario Douglas. Booty catching 5 catches for a 93 yards and Douglas with 3 catches for 21 yards. The Patriots defense, after starting a little bit slow, which has become a little bit of a theme here in this season and something they need to get corrected very quickly, came up with timely takeaways and stops to help ensure the victory. The Patriots even overcame a little bit of ref ball as there were a couple of offensive pass interference calls that left a little bit to be desired and started to question if the refs had a little bit of this on the line in that game. But all of this coupled into a great team win where most fans were worried about a little bit of a letdown after their amazing victory against the Buffalo Bills. And speaking of the Bills, coupled this Patriots win with the Buffalo Bills loss and Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons, folks, that means that your New England Patriots, for the first time since week 15 of 2021 season, is in a place they haven't been in a while. They are first in the AFC East. Now, you ask any Patriots fan, they hope that they would be able to maybe sneak into the playoffs at the beginning of the season, but most of them expected to be one of the three wild cards that maybe hopped up to second in the division and maybe snuck in at like a sixth or a seventh seed and was going to have to play a really big team in the first round and probably were going to get ousted, but showed progress. But with the improved play of Drake May, the stellar coaching of Mike Vrabel, the great additions like Stephon Diggs, and some help by an upset win against Buffalo 2 weeks ago, and a Buffalo Bills upset by the Atlanta Falcons, means the Patriots could possibly have a division title and a first round bye in their very near future. We'll see if the Patriots can continue this hot streak as next week they will look to get a win for the head coach Mike Vrabel as he will take on his former team, the Tennessee Titans, who just got rid of the coach that replaced Mike Vrabel, Mike Callahan. Also, make sure that you're subscribed to the Game Time Voice YouTube channel as we have been live streaming most of the Patriots games here on the channel every Sunday. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications set so you don't miss out on the next live stream. Next up, we're going to head over to Causeway Street as the boys in black and gold have had their season get underway and have played 4 games so far and surprisingly have come away with 3 wins in those 4 games and have gotten off to a pretty good start considering where most fans had their expectations set at the beginning of the season. An opening night 3-1 win in the nation's capital against the Washington Capitals, an overtime win against the Chicago Blackhawks on the home opener, and a magical hang on victory against the Buffalo Sabres that was live streamed right here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel. The highlights and the live stream are still on the channel, so make sure you go check that out. And a tough loss, but a loss that showed the character of the group that we did not see very much of last season. 4-3 this past Monday against the Tampa Bay Lightning have fans to have cautious optimism on this team. Elias Lindholm returning to form after a back injury hindered him for most of last season. Morgan Geekie still picking up where he left off last season, with David Pastrnak providing his usual additions on the offensive side and picking up his play on the defensive side as well. You have contributions from guys in the bottom part of the lineup as Mark Kaslik, Michael Easimont, Fraser Mitten, Casey Middlestad, even defensemen like Mason Loride, Jordan Harris, Nikita Zadorov, and Jonas Corpusalo giving you a chance in a couple of games, and Jeremy Swayman returning to form, all have the Bruins fans eager to see if this team can make a run for the playoffs. However, the Bruins now face their toughest test of the season as they will head out west for a murderer's row of a West Coast road trip beginning this Thursday when they take on the Vegas Golden Knights and former coach Bruce Cassidy, then move on to take the Colorado Avalanche, a Stanley Cup champion from just a few seasons ago, and we'll finish it off against one of the newest teams by name, although they've been in the league now for their second year, the Utah Mammoths. So a West Coast swing that's sure to prove and test the mettle of this Bruins team. We're now going to head to our wackiest of the week, but we're going to stay on Causeway Street as we're going to head to that Bruins Tampa Bay game just a couple days ago and look at a moment that you really might not have expected. See, the Bruins were down 3 goals twice in this game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, down 3-0 and 4-1 respectively, before mounting a furious comeback and trying to get a tying goal in the final seconds. But Tampa Bay seemed to have the game all but wrapped up as they came away with the puck, with the Bruins having pulled their goalie for an extra skater and seemed poised to put it in to a waning goal. That's when alternate captain David Pastrnak sprang into action, and a player who's most notable for his offensive contributions getting involved defensively and blocking a shot that was headed for an empty net. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what's so wacky about that? Don't players normally block shots and everything else? Yes, but look at David Pastrnak on this play. You'll notice, look at his left hand. It's choked down a little bit on the stick. Now, normally that's not a case for blocking shots. That's because, and I couldn't find the video because I don't want to get copyrighted because I want to make sure YouTube is very, very happy. But he actually choked down on the stick and got into a position like a goalie in order to block this shot. Couple this with a check where he absolutely laid out Nikita Kucherov, Pastrnak throwing a body check and playing goalie for a second has allowed me and maybe some Bruins fans to put maybe the argument to shame that that is your captain who deserves a C among some pretty notable competition in Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm. But to me, isn't the only thing that makes this wacky and why I had a flashback all of a sudden to maybe the glory years of this franchise in terms of my life is that I don't think this is the best save by a Bruins forward. For that, I want to take you back to the 2011 Eastern Conference quarterfinals where the Bruins Canadiens rivalry was at one of its highest points, and Tim Thomas had come out of his net a little aggressively, which he was known to do, and Thomas Plekanec had a wide open net. That was until Bruins forward Michael Ryder was in the crease and not just with his leg or maybe just with his body, stuck a glove hand out and made a glove save and a beauty. So you couple this and compare it to Pasternak's save and this, to me, this is a little bit better because Pastrnak, he was in position. Yes, he was playing like a goalie, but he kind of made like a pad save, if you will, which most forwards who play goalie and come back sometimes, that's mostly what they try to get with the body. But look at Ryder. He actually sticks his glove hand out and puts a little shine on it. It kind of just makes you think and makes you point out in a way is that, in my opinion, I want to hear you guys in the comments on this. Who is the Bruins forward or defenseman that if they went and played goalie and switch positions, you wouldn't have a worry in the world? That's all the time we have for today on the Game Time Voice Report. I want to thank you guys, as always, for your support of the channel. And we've recently gained 2 new subscribers. We're on the road to at least 50 by the end of 2025. So make sure that subscribe button has been pushed. And more importantly, make sure that notification bell has been clicked so that you know when new videos come online on the channel. I'm your host, Mike Walsh, and I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of the Game Time Voice Report here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel. This has been episode 11, and I'll see you guys next time right here as Game Time Voice, as always, is the voice of the common sports fan.